Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 82 of the SWW Show. It's me, AJ, and Mike, as always.
Hello.
I always say, as always, we've had other people on the show,
Yeah,
on the main show, so.
I think we literally like one episode of the main show where it's not the two of us though. In some, at least both here.
Yeah.
Like I think there's at least some level of consistency here. So
Yeah.
it's a valid thing. But yes, it is. It's like it's like the end of the month. We have Labor Day weekend coming up. I don't know about you. We got fake fall going on right now by us.
Honestly, looking at the forecast, I don't think it's fake fall. I think it's just straight up fall came early.
That's possible because like it is straight like 60s or something right now outside. Like the sun's out, there's a little warmth, but like it is not summer weather in the slightest.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big chunk of blue and green, which admittedly, I'm not complaining.
That's fair. That's fair. Don't. Especially your place. I feel like you're definitely not complaining.
Yeah.
No, that is very valid. So yeah, we're here to talk about the month of news, of life, all of that good stuff. To get us started, let's talk about the thing that matters the most on this initial set of stuff here. You have been going decently neck deep through the weekends of the Battlefield 6 beta. Probably not the level of some crazy people, but like you've played a decent amount of it. I don't know, kind of, what was kind of your top line impressions, kind of, and then is anything kind of stands out to you versus like the last few games of the series?
Yeah, so to kind of put into perspective, I level capped, which was 20 over 8 days. Over the course of 8 days. I probably put 10 to 12 hours into it.
So like
for whatever
for
reason,
demo,
EA
level
Launcher
20.
doesn't track, or it didn't track time spent in the beta.
That's so weird. You'd think they would actually really want that as a metric. Like that you'd show people, be like, you really like this beta, go buy it. Like,
yeah, which, I mean, it really doesn't matter, but when you ask me that question, I'm like, I don't have a quick, easy answer. I can't just pull up Origin and see my time spent in the game, but, like I told you in our text back and forth, it basically feels like Battlefield 3.
which is a good thing. Like that is, I'm assuming, like I was assuming Battlefield 2 maybe, but like Battlefield like 3 and 4, I'm assuming for a lot of people is like the modern high mark of that series.
Yeah, I think a lot of people adore 3 because that's the one they got into. And then 4 was just kind of an improvement of 3.
Yeah, that's the complaints of 4. It's kind of like the Far Cry 4 complaints, the same as the Battlefield 4 complaint. That without 3, the respective 3s, it'd be fine. It's just you saw the 3s first.
Yeah, and 3 was really like the proof of Frostbite is head and shoulders above every other engine out there. Where you're like, holy shit, this looks real. And we're talking 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Like you played through the campaign,
which I'm assuming,
you're like, good lord, this thing looks, uncanny valley. And then like it took 10 years for games to catch up to what 3 was doing.
and in a lot of ways, I don't think very few games have ever gotten to the level of destruction that like 3 and 4 of Battlefield have done. Like, it's interesting to me how I feel like no real games competed in that type of space.
Yeah, in terms of like the shooters, I think part of that is your Call of Duties, they want such a sterile experience. Right? Like they want everybody, and Counter-Strike's the same way, where they want the maps to be the exact same every time. No variations whatsoever, right? Whereas Battlefield and Siege are like, hey, destruction is part of these maps. you can either use that to your advantage or you can deny the enemy certain areas. And this 6 definitely brought back that, oh, there's somebody behind that wall. Well, guess what? You can blow that wall open. And then if you're coordinated, you can have an AT guy launch an RPG to break the wall, and then an assault to launch a grenade in there, and then you just lay into it. So it definitely felt like Battlefield.
Which again, even from our text, that is the best thing you could have said to me, I think, is like, you just said this is mono Battlefield 3. I was like, oh, that's what I want. It's interesting to me how they couldn't get to this formula for a decade.
The problem is 2042, right? Like, Battlefield 1 is probably the best.
No, that's fair. People did like that one a lot.
Playing Battlefield ever. Like, it is the sweet spot of everything clicked with 1. 5 was a very rough launch, and they have improved it since. And in fact, there's a lot of days where the player count on 5 is higher than 2042. Because
that's
2042
wild.
is just so not Battlefield. It's like this weird hero shooter. It's as if somebody said, hey, the best parts about, or what makes Battlefield different than Call of Duty is that it has these massive maps. And that's all they took from it.
God, I forgot. I'm looking at like a screenshot of 2042, and it is totally like we Call of Duty 5 Battlefield at points.
Yeah, I mean, they took away effectively class specialty, right? So you could play any character with any weapon, and the class was based on the character. Whereas with 6, you can still kind of do that.
Mm-hmm.
To where, a sniper could carry an SMG, but they've always had field upgrades in the Battlefield games, to where your performance benefits you. And so I'll stick with the sniper because that's an easy one. At level 2 of the field upgrade, headshots are fatal and you can't revive.
Oh.
Only from sniper rifles. So if you're a sniper running around with an SMG,
it's pointless.
You can dome dudes all you want, but they can still get revived. So, and there's a lot of times where the other classes have things that benefit different playstyles. So, they didn't have any of the massive maps.
Yeah, which is an interesting decision to me. Like, I feel like I'm a little shocked they didn't have like one.
There was Tajikistan, which was the biggest map that they had. And it was definitely big, but I mean, you could run across it within 2 minutes. It wasn't huge. They've already announced Operation Firestorm is a launch map, which is a Battlefield 3 favorite. And where the true combined arms of Battlefield really showcases. So where you have the battles in the sky of the jets, and then the helicopters below that trying to take out tanks or take out vehicles or infantry. And then you have the ground warfare. So the one thing I wasn't a huge fan of was they have the main battle tanks, but then they had IFVs, infantry fighting vehicles,
Oh.
and those were basically as good as a main tank, especially against anything other than a tank. And they respawn very quickly. They're kind of glass cannons, but it felt like the penalty wasn't as bad for losing an IFV as it was compared to losing an MBT. So hopefully some of that stuff gets looked at, but
Do you have any gut feeling reasons to be, besides, I guess, EA's history, like any concerns of the launch, or you kind of feel like after playing it that like you feel pretty confident?
I feel confident in this game for the first 6 months.
Okay.
And
That's probably
that
pretty
number
fair.
would very quickly skyrocket depending on Firestorm.
Mhm.
So if Firestorm launches, which is their Battle Royale mode, if Firestorm launches day one and it works and is good, and that's where they'll have all the goofy shit, I'm totally fine with that. Right? If you want to play as, the characters from Bad Company, right? If those are some of the skins,
Mhm.
if they want to do that stuff, I'm totally fine with them doing that in Firestorm and then leaving the Battlefield experience.
I'm kind of hoping, like I think we talked about, I'm kind of hoping it was some about of like, there's a monetary reason of why, let's be honest, especially for EA, they're going to do some of this stuff, but like find ways to kind of contain it.
Yeah. So I am very optimistic about it. And I mean, really, we've got like, 6 weeks
Mhm.
when it launches. We haven't heard anything about Firestorm, which again is like, it's kind of worrying. If there's one worry that I have about Battlefield 6, it's that they're going to do the same thing they did with 5, to where Firestorm launches like 6 months later.
Yeah.
And then it was just DOA.
No, I am hopeful that they've realized that you can't. Battlefield is not a brand that can delay something like that.
Yeah. I also
Like,
love
where,
the
like-
discourse of all of the Call of Duty kids that are like, why are they changing the movement? Why are they nerfing? Like, it's like that because Battlefield's not Call of Duty.
Yeah, Battlefield changes.
If you want a codified Battlefield, go play 2042. Right? Like,
Which, fun fact, I was looking that up a few minutes ago, is the worst and currently still is the worst viewed battle game of 17 different products.
doesn't surprise me.
Just to give a context there of how much people didn't like it compared to other ones.
And there's been some shit Battlefield games.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Battlefield 6, as well, and later on, it comes out very soon, so we'll keep an eye out for that. Jumping into one other thing I've played, just kind of continued on my Kingdom Hearts 3 chain, so kind of, I'd say nothing massive there to talk about. Jumping to what we've seen, I guess I'll take the first one here before we go into yours. We sat down the other, and it wasn't a Saturday night, because I think it was a Wednesday night, because we were talking. Sat down and watched Saturday Night Fever, which is that Travolta's first film?
It's his first big one, at the very least.
I mean, yeah,
I don't
that's
think
like
his actual
it's
first
his
one.
it's his first big film. Obviously, a poster child of like low budget instant insane of the era. It's one of those things. I think I've realized that like it's like I generally like older film, like 80s films. I really like 90s films. I like different eras films. It feels to me like 70s is a weird decade for me in filmmaking. Of like there are certain like people I really like when you do like some Coppola's, like after Coppola, but like the 70s I feel like is that weird change in film where those films I look back now and I watch them and I go, I don't fully understand anymore. And I think Saturday Night Fever might almost be one of those films. And it's partially is like that's the era of filmmaking is it's all slice of lifey, but I feel like it was slice of lifey not even the way that I tend to like it as much now, but like it almost feels like even like Saturday Night Fever, like when you're going through it's just like there's no real plot here per se besides him just living. And at a certain point, I don't know, like, it just doesn't sit any as well anymore for that, especially because like the references culturally that matter then won't matter now. I think the same on those films, and I think Saturday Night Fever to me kind of fell down that track.
Yeah, it's definitely. I don't know if it's the least kind of applicable movie from that time frame. I'm sure there's a ton that I'm not thinking of. But it is definitely like, this is just a movie about living in the 70s, and you're like, okay.
Oh, and it's the okay. It's not that it's bad, it's clarified, but it's very much like that. You're just like, okay, like what's the story you're trying to tell here? Like, I don't mind when a story is just a moment in life, but I feel like I feel like it should be a tighter thing of, and here's some subplot this person's doing this week versus like, this very much felt like a film of literally just like jumped into his life for a couple weeks or whatever it was.
Well, it feels like a precursor to kind of the John Hughes world. Right, to where basically all of John Hughes' movies are, for lack of a better term, nothing movies.
Mm-hmm.
And Saturday Night Fever feels like that. Again, that's not saying it's bad.
But it feels like, a John Hughes film, or at least some of them I would point to and be like, yeah, but I could like feel like they're trying to say something here, even if it's through the slice lefty feel. Where like Ferris Bueller is a good example of like, it's very slice, but like we just kind of go like, okay, yeah, there's a thing happening. We kind of understand the plot is going along. Like, he can't get caught, right? There's a thing there that I feel like there's something tangible that they've placed it concretely. Well, like this film, when you watch it, I go, there's no like real concrete, like it's just like a guy trying to find his future just living. Like, it's funny because like not that long before this film was like The Graduate, which is another one of those, but I feel like it does it better.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, it's the same thing of someone's trying to find themselves at the end of high school. Like,
I mean, also you have to remember The Graduate is probably the most influential movie from that genre.
Oh, 100%. But it's a good example of films that I think we both hold on pedestals, and I think one of them does it way better, and they're trying to do at least that part of it similarly.
Yeah.
But Saturday Night Fever, it's my fucking, if it's streaming, probably go enjoy it. Like, it's on, if you have the cable and there's a scene on, like, it's a fun film, but like, you don't, if you fall asleep during it, you're gonna be okay, for example.
Yeah.
So, I see here that you watched Nobody 2, starring Bob Odenkirk.
Starring the Bob Odenkirk.
That's true. The near Chicago owns Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah. I think,
it's technically near suburb.
Yeah. I think the coolest thing about this was during some of the press, like the stunt guys and the director saying like, Bob never stopped training after Nobody won. Like, he just kept in that shape and kept training. And I will say, this doesn't have the fun claymore attached to a ballistic shield that the first movie does.
I was like, because like so Nobody won. I throw into this weird pocket of like Cocaine Bear and like a few other of those, which is like we've gotten these really weird like genre-y films of just go blow shit up.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, the best part about Nobody Won is that he clearly knows what to do, but he's old, so his body doesn't always do it. And he's kind of rusty and things like that, and then he improves throughout the film. So I was worried going into Nobody 2 of like, all right, is he just gonna be John Wick?
Which that was the John Wick team, right? Or some of them?
Part of it, yeah.
Yeah, and I just not that fully, but I thought there was like connection to like Nobody and John Wick.
I mean, to put it into perspective, I believe Um, Ballerina is an 87 North production.
Okay, so maybe that's the connection I'm
Um,
thinking. Oh, the producer is the producer of John Wick. That is the director of John Wick 1. That's what it is.
yeah.
I'm like, I remember there being a connection.
Yeah, it's Deadpool 2, it's Bullet Train, it's Nobody, it's Fall Guy, Nobody 2. Yeah. These guys are about action, real action.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'm assuming nobody too fun, go fuck around type film.
oh yeah, definitely lives up to the fun of Nobody Won and continues that, you know. I'll just put it this way, RZA in this gets to really highlight his love of martial arts and samurai movies. So let's put it at that.
Hey, that's a good time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, nobody to go check it out. I assume on your local stream. Did you have to rent it or is it streaming somewhere?
It's in theaters.
What isn't it? Why am I? Yeah, I forgot that it's like. I was thinking it was like a couple months ago. Yeah, it's one of those films that like I feel like I don't see advertising for, so I just forget when it was.
Yeah. I was a little worried about that, especially since I think Nobody Won was a Amazon production. This is a Universal production, and yeah, like it doesn't have the Amazon Studios or the MGM.
It's already at least broken even at the box office.
Yeah, it wouldn't seem like it's a very expensive movie.
Yeah, the estimate was a $25 million budget.
And probably 13 of that was pyrotechnics.
Yeah, and so the point is like, when it's already at 28 mil, it'll probably bet you finishes closer to 35. Like you get a little back end. Like I bet you this is one of those projects that just make enough money to keep existing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
I mean, they have the John Wick movies to
actually make money.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, jumping in to some actual news. The first one, and I just checked, we don't have a resolution story, so it's still a bit in the air. But there are rumors circulating that the Howard Stern show is to officially not be renewed on SiriusXM after his 20 years being at Sirius, and obviously years before that being Howard Stern. Which, the reason, obviously this story is not fully known yet, / if he's being renewed or not. The reason to me this story matters is it's kind of like our talk a few months ago about like the Late Show being canceled with Colbert. Like it's interesting to me how what I would define decently as these media institutions and like Howard Stern show is like it's not what it once was, but like it's one of those things that just exists. It's interesting to me watch as we see like the media landscape kind of around us collapse, like these things that we described as like kind of as its own thing that you're just seeing them kind of collapse with it. Things that almost you must next. Like you'd expect Howard Stern to be like, I'm retiring one day versus not getting renewed.
I mean,
I know, kind of.
Yeah, right. Like SiriusXM is not what it was 20 years ago when this deal was signed.
Oh, not in the slightest.
So, I mean, Stern 71. This deal was $100 million deal over 20 years. You got to imagine he'd be asking for 10 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And, maybe he's 5 or 10 years. Right? So, $100 million deal again.
Yeah.
And is it worth it to Sirius to do that? Now, obviously, they'll strike a deal to where Sirius will be able to continue to syndicate his shows.
That was it. The
So-
syndication. The other one to me is also, I'll be curious, kind of like that back catalog, if it follows him or do they just keep it?
Yeah,
Because I
would
think
be curious
part of the
with
is like a WWE type deal.
well, no. What my question was going to be, how would that work for Sirius, right? Like, it's not like a TV show where NBC Universal could produce a show. Actually, a really good example. CBS does this all the time. CBS will produce a show that then sells to a different network.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So
CBS
then
is very
there's these
common.
weird syndication deals that they have to worry about. This was a Sirius XM show only ever broadcast on Sirius XM. There's no other satellite radio.
No, but I guess what I was thinking is there's no satellite radio, but like I didn't know if that content, if like Stern would be allowed to take that content library and then sell it to someone else. Like, could you sell it to a Spotify or whatever as a back catalog deal? Like, I don't know kind of who owns that. Like, I guess the question is,
that's my
when a
thing,
show was
right?
made, who owned them?
Yeah, to my point is, I would imagine Sirius technically owns this.
Just because there was no competition, so probably there's no clause to be like, I want to shop it.
Unless, yeah. Unless it was a deal
No, and
with Howard Stern Productions for the Howard Stern Show,
right.
in which case...
Or for a
then-
20-year right to the Howard Stern show or whatever it was. I don't know. So I'll be curious, and I'll be generally curious to see kind of over this next year if there's anything else that we start seeing that I would describe as these like media institutions start collapsing. Like I'd put into like MSNBC is now whatever the hell they're calling it, MS Now or whatever soon to be bankrupt company is owning it. But like it's interesting watching these things that were like temple things kind of collapsing.
Yeah.
So we shall see. But speaking of institutions collapsing, I was gonna let you take the lead on this one. You were telling me, and you have written down the story here, that so the NFL has bought into ESPN, and if you don't know, if you want to explain that and kind of what's going on.
So the NFL purchased a 10% stake in ESPN through other means, right? But part of the deal was they were getting 10% of ESPN. This is now the first time to where a sports league owns a quote-unquote independent or third party.
Because sports leagues own networks. This is the key to this.
There's
Like-
an NFL network. There's MLB network. There's NHL network. There's NBA TV.
Or even like local, like Cubs use marquee. Like you kind of have these local syndication-y deals too that like over time were like evolved.
Well, so that's
or whatever.
completely different.
Okay.
But like the NFL itself had NFL Network,
Mm-hmm.
and they still technically do.
I
The
really don't they
MLB
still?
owns MLB Network.
Right.
The NHL owns
NHL TV,
Network,
I think it was.
and then NBA with NBA TV. So, what happens when the NFL has a storyline, I guess, similar to the concussion scandal in the early 2000s?
Mm-hmm.
How
No, that's
does
fair.
ESPN cover that?
But I guess part of it, like when we were talking, I think a few weeks ago we were talking about this, and to me, and I think I kind of repeat myself then, it's like part of it to me is like, and I'll be curious, and maybe I'm wrong, but like I never view, at least currently, ESPN as like truly a reporting network. Let's be honest, it probably hasn't been for a long time, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of that has left network television
Right.
for other. I mean, part of the reason it's left network television is there's 800 YouTube channels that will do the same story, and some of them will actually have connections to do deep dives.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you have things like The Athletic, where they are like,
That is their bread and butter.
if you want in true investigative journalism in sports, you go to The Athletic. They're the ones that broke the Astros sign stealing scandal, the Red Sox scandal. Yeah, they've broken a lot of big stuff. So, yes, how does ESPN stay impartial, even with a not insignificant portion of them being owned by one of the leagues that they cover? The main reason I wanted to highlight this, other than that, was we got to see for the first time in 22 years one Rich Eisen host of SportsCenter. Now, for guys, or not just guys, sports fans that are in their late 20s to early 40s, Rich Eisen was SportsCenter. Right? He hosted it with Dan Patrick. He hosted it with Stuart Scott. He was SportsCenter.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the hosts of SportsCenter. Now, shit, I forget when he died. Stuart Scott sadly passed away, going on 10 years now, maybe even longer than that, from brain cancer.
Mm.
When I tell you, I was choking up and holding back tears watching a 2-minute clip of Rich Eisen. And like, I can't explain that, right? Like, it is a time and place. If you were around when Stuart Scott was calling guys colder than the other side of the pillow, and all of his Stewisms, right? Like, that is a generation that looks very fondly on a lot of these guys. And to watch Rich also hold back and get choked up while trying to close out SportsCenter was genuinely like, holy shit, right? Like, they needed to do, like, he needed to do that for himself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I genuinely don't think if they didn't address it, Rich could never feel like he was doing the right thing. Because he knows that seat isn't his.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That seat should be Stewart's. And so for him to address that on his first show and to see the outpouring of support across social media was so cool. Because social media, especially sports social media, can be the most toxic place in the world on good days. To see all of sports Twitter rally behind Rich was really cool. So
No, that's fair. That's
So
So-
we'll see, obviously, right? Like, going forward, how ESPN covers the NFL impartially. So, yeah. I have nothing to,
sounds-
like,
no.
they haven't come out and said much. So, it's
To wait
kind
and
of
see.
hard to be like. Also, the NFL season hasn't started, so it's a little hard to be like, oh well, they didn't cover this story that's actually kind of a big deal. But that
Yeah, no, it'd be interesting to see kind of this year, next. It'd be like probably the first couple years is kind of where you'll visibly start seeing if there's changes.
Yeah, I guess the big thing will be if there's a big scandal in the NFL, how is
And
it
they avoid
addressed?
touching it. Yeah. No, that's fair. Until you see that right into it, I agree there's a potential conflict of interest. I just, when the way the landscape is and the way kind of these companies already operate, I just don't think. Like, I think they would already be scared of losing the access they were if they were really today going to badmouth the NFL in a real way that they wouldn't be able to now.
I mean, I don't know if you remember the whole Ray Rice situation
Sounds familiar?
where he beat
Probably
the ever living shit out of his
Yeah, okay.
girlfriend in an elevator and it was on camera. And the NFL basically slapped him on the wrist. ESPN ripped into that in a way that I hadn't seen in a very long time. To where they were like, Ray Rice should never be allowed on an NFL field. Like, he should be persona non grata. Why does he have like a 6-game suspension? Right. His act is caught on camera. It's an open and shut case. And now we have Jalen Carter, who plays for the Eagles, who was involved in a car crash while he was at the University of Georgia that killed at least one person. I think it was actually 2. And that got swept under the rug like 3 weeks after it happened. And you're just like, okay. Guess we haven't really changed that much.
Yeah, this is true.
So, yeah.
No, that is fair. Jumping into our game news, I didn't see any trailers kind of released out this month. There was like a few TV shows or whatever, so kind of looking, but nothing kind of, I would say, of the massive scope. Even though I think there's one on the verge of some big trailers kind of dropping based on films when they come out. But
yeah, we're kind of in the doldrums of the dog days of summer, so.
But we're
obviously
past
we
like
got
the
our
box
horror
office.
movies. Yeah.
Right. Like that's the thing is like my guess is that we're gonna start getting, if I'm a guessing person, we're gonna start getting some like big film teasers we've been waiting for soon. Like there's stuff like the Michael Jackson film comes out next year thing. So like I feel like we're gonna start seeing these teasers kind of pop.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I think next month this will not be the case. But jumping into our games, we're going to start out with the fun one. So I told people we'd keep an eye out on these Roblox stories. No new news on this Roblox UGC story. But Roblox is in the news for a fundamentally different reason.
Yeah, we recorded that episode last month, and we're like, hey, we'll keep an eye on this UGC story. Oh, boy.
And then let's just say,
was it
Roblox is under some trouble.
Was it not only... It was less than a week, I think. After
I think it was
you and I
literally like
recorded.
the next week I saw that Chris Hansen was reporting on it.
I don't even know if the episode had been published. And I saw a video of Roblox is perma-banning these To Catch a Predator guys.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? I'm sorry. Like, I don't give a shit about UGC anymore. Like, what?
No, this is 100% accurate. And then the story that really stood out to me was I thought it was a joke, and then I saw people talk about how Chris Hansen was involved. It's like, no, he's not. And then yes, there's a video that I posted how Chris Hansen is apparently actively investigating this to do like a special on Roblox.
Well, and so I think that was until that got announced. I think Roblox was banking on the fact that they could just ban these YouTubers that were effectively vigilantes.
Yeah, which to clarify, I actually Roblox has problems, so I'm not defending that half.
Oh, yeah.
I understand their argument of we can't have vigilantes pretending to be children walking around, like because it's violating it, and then you don't know if these vigilantes are actually being good people versus
Right.
trying to be predators.
yeah, you end up kind of throwing the baby out with the bathwater if you let that stuff happen.
Yeah.
I
So
get
like,
that.
I understand you can't let that happen, but at the same time, Roblox, holy shit.
I mean, a few of those stories of like, hey, we got banned, but these predator accounts are still active.
Yeah.
And you just look at that and go, this is a company in Roblox where the CEO wanted to create a dating thing in Roblox.
Yeah.
And you're just like, we're going to find out that the creators of Roblox are predators, right? Like that's where this
there's
is
gonna
headed.
like Roblox is a great theory, obviously a very popular thing, with no accounting for their general audience as children. And that's the problem here.
Yeah, but I mean, now that you have Chris Hansen, who has spent 30 plus years working as this guy works with the proper channels of law enforcement. This guy, like, he does it by the book and gets these people arrested. If he's investigating you, it's not, oh, he might find something. It's Chris
He already
Hansen is
thinks there's something there and he's
investigating
gonna find it.
because there was enough evidence that you are doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And now he has the name brand and the connections to do something about it. If I'm Roblox, I'm shitting my pants.
Yeah.
Because parents may not know some random YouTube channel.
But they know Chris
They know
Hansen.
Chris Hansen. So, yeah.
No, I completely agree. So we will wait and see for other Roblox news that I bet will be updated over the coming months.
What do we think we're getting an update first on UGC or Chris Hansen?
I think mystically we're gonna get an update. Mystically on UGC like 24 hours per Chris Hansen.
That wouldn't surprise
That's gonna be my
me,
bet.
But
like, I feel like that's what you do, right?
well, it's one.
Oh, we're announcing all these brands.
It's one of two things, right? They either announce that they have more brands and act like this doesn't exist, they stick their head in the sand, or they shut shit down for maintenance or some bogus terminology. Yeah, 24 hours before the Chris Hansen thing goes live.
Mm-hmm. No, that's my guess. Is there's gonna be some level because they're gonna get a warning of it realistically. So they'll get an option to like respond and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, they'll be interviewed or request for interviews.
Yeah, so like they'll know it's coming.
Yeah.
Whether they know the exact day, they'll know it's coming. But yeah, jumping into speaking of shitty leaders, Pete Parsons is finally leaving Bungie after all these years. So people who don't know, Pete Parsons, I believe, was a founder, but he's a CEO. Oh, no, he's a founder. He's CEO of Bungie. Has been CEO for 23 years, basically since they've been acquired by Microsoft. And he is finally leaving the studio after, let's just say, some horrible decisions on Bungie's end of the last, we'll call it half decade. So, I believe I believe I'll be speaking for a lot of people and my understanding of a lot of people's opinions of him, where, we talk about like some CEOs will be missed and won't be missed. I don't believe there are many employees that are going to say this is the will be missed side of CEOs, is my understanding.
Well, and it's not just bad business decisions.
Right.
I think is the very important thing to highlight here. It's
like,
not
there were stories of like, he would like lay off people and then they'd see him drive around his sports car. Or he would talk about his sports cars in office.
Yeah. It's either this guy is so out of touch that he doesn't get it, or he's just so narcissistic that, oh yeah, we just laid off 200 people. But guess what? Now I get a bonus for, reaching our financial goals of spend for.
Which, like, don't get me wrong, a lot of companies that's true of CEOs.
Yeah.
But the CEO doesn't advertise the thing they bought with it most of the time.
Right.
And that, like, I had to make everyone, they're both bad, but it is objectively worse to then go show it off like that.
Yeah, you don't often see, like, the CEO of a pharmaceutical company lay off 1,000 people and then on social media post that they just bought a new Porsche.
Yeah.
Or Lamborghini.
Like, they have enough sense to not do that.
Yeah.
So we shall see. But yeah, that is happening. The next story I think is one that I think we're both excited by. Digital Foundry over the last month had announced that they had basically become fully independent from IGN as their, I guess it's, or whatever, they're a part of, I know it's IGN, but like
Eurogamer, they got bought by the parent company
Ziff Davis. Yeah, so they got bought by Ziff Davis, and obviously like Ziff's have been kind of like merging and killing some of those brands, whatever. But Digital Foundry is lucky in the sense of they now have their freedom and they are fully an independent outlet.
Now, I know we talked about this when the news broke. Does this happen without Giant Bomb?
See, but hear me out though. When you say does this happen, do you mean does this happen in the sense of like they set the groundwork for come to see it's possible, or you think it's? Are you more asking because like? Oh wait, that was same owners, wasn't it? Well, they were Ziff also.
No, they were Fandom at that point.
I thought wasn't there
Ziff
some merger? Am I
Davis
crazy?
Very early on was part owners.
Maybe that's what I was thinking. Okay, but they were just was Fandom not owned by someone?
As far as I know, it was just Fandom that owned.
Okay.
That whole thing. No, I guess what I mean by that is the full asset transfer.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, we've seen companies get acquired and then talent from one of their brands split off and recreate their own brand.
Right, we've seen that time memorial.
Yeah.
But it's more unusual. You're right.
Yeah, as far as I know. Now, obviously, there may be other examples. They're just not coming to mind. A peaceful, amicable transfer of ownership of one brand. Again,
to the workers of the brand.
Giant Bomb.
I think you might be right. At least I can't think of any in like these type of spaces where there'd be anything of note in that size. So no, that is fair. That is interesting. But like a lot, like we've talked about this. I think even like game studios where I'm just like, why don't you let like sell them and stuff like that? Like it is one of these where it's like it's interesting on that one. I'll be genuinely curious though, like. So this is the like negative side of all this, but it's true. Like a lot of people who are very good artistic people or good on aren't always the best business people. Right. So I guess I'm very curious, and you see a lot very quickly things of when a brand like this spins up, do they at least bring a business person with them? Do they have a plan in place? So because
I think that's what makes Digital Foundry and Giant Bomb way different. And
it's because they have that.
Right, where they were, at one point in time, their own thing. Mm-hmm. And kind of always operated as their own thing.
Yeah, like the budget was always signed off on, but yeah, they kind of functionally were their own unit.
So they knew, they had middle management as part of Digital Foundry, as part of Giant Bomb, that saw those budgets and had, understood the financials. And they had the contacts with the sponsor team and the sales team, and then they built relationships with brands, so they were able to potentially carry some of that stuff over. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else would be of this similar caliber of Digital Foundry or Giant Bomb, where it's like this well-respected legacy brand, but it's not at the scale of a GameSpot or an IGN or a Eurogamer.
Yeah. No, like that's
Even
the thing too. So we're running out of them.
Even Kotaku's too big.
Also, Kotaku's gonna die, I feel like, sooner or later. But
Yeah.
But that's her. I think we were talking about how this is an interesting landscape and how it keeps evolving. The thing that I was gonna say though is, so like, it's fair to say, right, when you're seeing these layoffs and you're seeing this like collapse of the traditional media space stuff too, it's interesting to me of you see then all these people who work in the space, right, talk about how like, where are these jobs now? What we're gonna do other things. And part of, to me though, which needs to be discussed more and more, which isn't in these discussions, is part of the reason these spaces are collapsing is because they're in today's environment just isn't the same audience that was there. And I do think of like I'm not saying there should be zero games media, and there wouldn't economically be zero games media, but it's true to say there is less eyeballs on a lot of these products in the way that make money than there were 20 years ago. And this is something that I think a lot of people who work these spaces are still kind of reckoning with. Like their audience isn't there anymore, and that's why their work isn't being like supported in the same volume.
Well, okay. You want to know? Here's my take on the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a take that I've had for a while. I just don't usually express it that often. The reason that video game coverage will die is Twitch.
Yes.
Right? Like, people don't give a shit what the score is. Right? People don't care if, Joe Schmo in fucking Cedar Rapids, Iowa doesn't care if GameSpot gave the game, a 7.5 out of 10. He just wants to tune into his favorite streamer, and if they're playing that game, does it look fun? Yes or no?
Mm-hmm.
And also, because of streaming culture, I think sales in general are going to go down because people
we're
just
seeing
watch. That. It's like, oh, I'm not going to go buy Last of Us. I'll just watch a streamer play it. Right? I don't need to go buy Ghost of Yote, for example, a game coming out, because I don't think Queso really does stuff like that, but I don't need to buy Ghost of Yote because Queso's doing a full playthrough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Sony sold one copy of the game, and he's got 50,000 people watching him play through the game. And that could have been 50,000 sales. Now, granted, they all wouldn't have bought the game. But still, like, if a streamer has an audience of 50,000, how many of those 50,000 are tuning in specifically to see Queso, to see Tim the Tatman, to see Shroud? Shroud's a little different because he's otherworldly. But how many are actually tuning in for the person versus the game?
Mm-hmm.
Right. In a situation like Ghost of Yote, where it's just a full playthrough. So, and also, people only play 5 games. Right? There's only 5 games that do numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So we shall see how it all looks. But yeah, let's continue down. It's still on here, but it's just fine. We're just going to announce it because we officially know, and we kind of knew last time, but we officially know. Battlefield 6 coming out October 10th. There's trailers out there. There's playthroughs. Obviously, people played the beta. Go check it out if you're interested. It's coming out soon. That's all we kind of have to add to there. The more upsetting news story that has taken effect just because of the nature of the show. All PlayStation 5s in America are now $50 more expensive than they were as of last week. This is a direct response, Sony said, to the tariffs that are taking effect. So for people who don't know, then our new prices in the United States of America are as follows. A PS5 is $549.99. PS5 digital is $499.99, and a PS5 Pro is $749.99. Yeah.
At what point do people realize that they fucked up? Right.
To be fair, though, it'd be hard. Like, we're talking about game console here. There's other things that are going to go up in cost in a long time. So,
yeah.
But, like, it's interesting of, like, from a game console point of view, this generation is the only time we've seen them go up. We saw them go up, to be fair, also before tariffs, too, because of inflation environments. This is the only way we've seen, like, this continual trend of consoles either staying the same or getting more expensive.
Well, and I guess my comment of when did they learn that they fucked up relates directly to the current administration in the United States ran on imposing these greater tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
And admittedly, it's a lot of anecdotal evidence that I've seen on social media that people didn't understand what tariffs were.
Which I'm just going to say the thing. If a politician keeps saying a word at you, and you don't know the word, I'd suggest you Google it at some point.
Don't just listen to him on Joe Rogan say, it's the most beautiful word.
Like, Google what a tariff is.
It's such
like, well, my guess is, as a gut, I'm probably less opposed to the concept of tariffs than you are, it sounds like. But also,
okay.
I'm not so... But like, also, we both know what a tariff is. We'd have an honest discussion of what a tariff is when we have these. Like,
yeah, I don't mind tariffs.
They are too broad. They need to be specific. Like, there are asterisks to this sentence I'm saying of when I say tariffs is a concept I'm not opposed to.
Yes. I am not opposed to the idea of tariffs, right? Like, one of the things that made the United States the country that it is its homegrown production.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not against, the
concept of tariffs, we're going to call that.
But
or the concept of things versus the broad, we're doing it everywhere on everything all at once.
It's literally like the guy in office is just like,
I declare bankruptcy.
This country, this percent. They're not
based off anything.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's like, okay, for example, Montana Knife Company, I believe is the name of the brand. He put out there like, my company is going to foreclose because I ordered this $70,000 piece of machinery for production a year and a half ago. But now under these tariffs, I'm going to be hit with a bill of like $500,000.
And that's, to me, I'm going to be honest, like, my biggest problem with a lot of this tariff stuff has been that where, like, it hits things actively in transit.
Because don't get me
started.
You need
businesses to be able to prepare. Like,
don't get me started on fucking rolling tariffs the way that they're doing them. It's dumbest shit in the world.
Like, the way tariffs should be implemented as a broad metric, I would say, is like, here is going to be new tariff rate 6 months from now. Like, it should be one of those. Like,
well, but also, like, grandfather in purchases like that.
That's what I mean. Like, grandfather, right. Like, in theory, the idea of that length is to, like, basically control for the majority of shipments or whatever. And businesses can then plan accordingly and yada yada.
Yeah, if I'm Sony and I'm going, okay, we're going to be shipping over 10 million PS5s to Mexico, for example. And so you get that stuff, like they're produced, they're in boxes, the container gets loaded onto a ship, and then a day into the ship's journey, they're like, yeah, those are getting slapped with a 100% tariff. What?
Yeah, no, that to me is more the problem.
Like, we need to sell this item to make money. Yeah. And people wonder why inflation isn't going down. Does this. Now, granted, I don't think our other option would have been much better. That being said, they weren't running on a platform of tariffing every nation.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, that is apt. I think we broadly agree on it. My guess is I think there's nuances we disagree, but I think we broadly agree on the what the fuck.
Yes. I genuinely hope that is everyone's rallying cry. Right? Like, set your dumb politics aside. As long as we can all look and say, the fuck are you doing, dude?
Right. At least implement them in a logical. Like, that's my baseline, to be honest with you. Either way, I'd probably be opposed to a lot of it, whatever. But at least then I could be like, at least I could see the logic behind it. Where this is just like, it's Tuesday, pull up a dartboard.
That's what it feels like.
But yeah, speaking of things that we're apparently throwing dartboards on, we have a slew of stories kind of came out this last month about the upcoming BioShock game. Apparently they had mass layoffs going on. Jason Schreier is reporting on this. But to me, the big piece here is that Rod Ferguson, who in the industry is known as the closer. He's the guy they brought in to get BioShock Infinite out. He's the guy they brought in to get Diablo 4 out. Is now going to Cloud Chamber, and his job is to get whatever the next BioShock is out. Two questions here. How the fuck did they mess up a BioShock this badly that it, like, it's just like how much they can't apparently get out? And it's also funny to me that, like, it's the same guy who had to bring Infinite is now in charge of going to release this. Like,
so this is going to be a very controversial statement for all of the creatives that listen to the show.
Okay.
And admittedly, both of us on the show are in one form or another some version of a creative. When a creative person produces something at the caliber that BioShock became, they get so far up their own ass.
what's interesting to me is this team wasn't the team that made BioShocks, though.
No, but they have this, like, how do we
improve perfection? Yeah.
Well, how do we match, BioShock Infinite when that team had 3 games to get to that point? Or I guess 2 other games. But, how were we able to just pick up and go when they had time to build up to that?
Mm-hmm.
So, in a lot of ways, creatives get very stuck in their own mind of, oh my god, I have to create the follow-up to the Mona Lisa. Like, no. There's only one well, there's 2 Mona Lisas, but, there's only one. Don't worry about it.
And as someone who's seen the Mona Lisa, it's not even close to the most impressive thing in that room.
Yeah.
Like,
Right, like-
I don't even know how to explain to people. Like, I am serious. If I didn't know this was the Mona Lisa, this was the important picture in that room, I wouldn't even notice it if it wasn't like for it being on a wall by itself.
Well, I was gonna say, isn't like literally 90 degrees one direction a literal like 50 by 10?
Yes, it's the Napoleon Emperor of like thing there.
Yeah.
All of 3 feet from it. That looks way better.
There's a fucking wall-sized painting right next to it. With
And everyone
more
cares about this
detail than
painting
the
that's
Mona
like,
Lisa.
yeah.
You know, this is like BioShock Infinite is the Mona Lisa. Meanwhile, there's, you know, take your pick, right? There's The Last of Us, which is around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're surrounded by incredible art. You don't have to make the thing that's the most popular. That's
Right.
totally fine.
And let's be honest, you're replicating something, like you're doing the sequel to BioShock Infinite. The odds you guys were going to make perfection is basically impossible. Like,
Yeah,
no one was going to be okay with what you made no matter what.
exactly.
Your best bet was people would be like, oh, this is almost good enough. Like, yeah, that's your best bet.
Especially Infinite, for whatever reason, has such a fan base around it that is, I don't know what the right word is. They're so, I guess, brainwashed is a word that you could use, that BioShock Infinite is perfect. You shouldn't touch it.
Which again, it's not a perfect game. I actually might prefer BioShock Infinite to BioShock because I think it actually plays a little better because I think the controls are a little more modern now.
Yeah.
But like, it's not a perfect game by any stretch. Like,
No, but
it's a really cool game that tells really cool narratives for games.
Yeah.
But that's what it is.
You have these audiences of certain games where it's like a sequel will never be able to live up to that game because they hold it in such disillusion. And shit, you fucking Battlefield 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Battlefield 4 comes out as a sequel to 3. Arguably better, especially visually.
Yeah, I think you're on track here with
The
the
maps were bigger than 3. But it wasn't Battlefield 3.
Correct.
Battlefield 3 did it so much better. Bad Company 2 did it so much better. Bad Company 1 did so much better. It's like, this is going to be a really weird analogy and kind of sexist. It's like when they made Baywatch,
Oh boy.
the remake, right?
Yeah, I know where you're going.
And it's effectively the same thing, right? It's just eye candy.
Yeah.
But because it isn't Pamela Anderson with her fucking water balloons running around. Instead, it's Alexandra Daddario, who's, in my mind, more attractive than Pamela Anderson was when that show first came out. But because it's not, it's just like, dude, boobs are boobs. They look great. Who gives a shit? Right? Like, know what you're going into it for. Temper your expectations. Just enjoy it. What I don't understand is why people that play video games a lot, why they have this inability to enjoy other things or to let other people enjoy other things. It's the dumbest shit in the world, dude.
Yeah. Welcome to life.
Yeah.
But welcoming to life, we got a final few stories here. PUBG is officially ending support for PS4 and Xbox One. I didn't write it down here, but also the same thing is happening on PS4s with Genshin Impact. So I believe we're finally leaving these consoles behind.
I believe the only major thing that's still on them is Grand Theft Auto Online.
Yeah, I think you might be right, because Call of Duty is... No,
Call of
Black
Duty's
Ops 7
definitely
is.
still on it, but it's like, it's Call of Duty.
Yeah. So yeah. And then finally, this is the only real layoff story we have besides the Cloud Chamber that we already talked about. Bithell Games, obviously Mike Bithell, famous for a lot of different things, has laid off. It's the majority of the staff has been redundant as they're not able to get funding on their newest project since Tron. So obviously, and the way we're doing with all industry, we hope these people the best of finding work. But jumping into games that are coming out this year, and obviously this list's a little hairy because we had some Gamescom stuff and stuff thrown in there. So next month I'm more promising being accurate, but this one's still pretty good. Borderlands 4 will come out on all major devices on September 12th. Silent Hill F comes out on PS5 and PC on September 25th. Final Fantasy Tactics, the Avalis Chronicles, come out on basically everything September 30th. Ghost of Yotei will come out on October 2nd. Battlefield 6 will come out October 10th. Pokemon Legends Z-A will come out to both Switches on October 16th. The Outer Worlds 2 comes out on October 29th. And we have a dated Black Ops 7 on November 14th. Yeah. And then finally, jumping into films that we could see this upcoming. You're gonna have to do some more research with me, because the best thing I got for us is Spinal Tap 2 is coming out. The End Continues.
Yeah, September's not looking great.
Like, September's just not looking great.
It's a lot.
It's that?
A lot of horror movies. There's that Splitsville, which looks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's that, or we just go, everyone go support your local cinema, go find something local. And we'll be back with the movie club, I feel like, the next month.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, even looking at the horror movies that are coming out, the only one that looks mildly interesting, I guess, is Him. That's the new Jordan Peele movie.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What are you thinking? Him, or are we calling it for the month?
Let's call it for now. Maybe you'll see something pop up in the feed, but
yeah, no, sounds good. So then officially, then as of now, there will be no movie club. We'll probably get an extra interview thrown there somewhere this month. Go support your local cinema. Go find something fun that you're not seeing, and if that changes, you will be informed. But yeah, that's all we got for this month at the SWW Show. As always, I'm Mike. We have AJ here. We're gonna call this wraps because I'm gonna go leave here in 15 minutes to go see Linkin Park tonight. So, and
so
AJ, I believe,
that's your heart out. I got you.
That's my heart out. Yes, it's Linkin Park. I have to make it on time for the show. And I completely forgot that that the show was tonight until I remembered it was tonight. So,
do you know who the openers are for them?
I think it's just one. Let me look up Milwaukee. Because it varies per city. Yeah. Chicago was 2 weeks ago. Gene Dawson. Which I've heard the name, I can't play songs.
Gene Dawson?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's a group, not a person, but
it's definitely like I've heard of them then.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The name sounds familiar. Yeah.
It's a Mexican-American experimental pop musician. It's a he.
Interesting.
So it is a person. Oh.
Then I guess I was thinking of a different person.
That's
It's interesting that they only have one. It must be a long show then.
Yeah, the show starts at 7:30. My guess is they go.
It says
So this
Linkin
probably
Park
goes to
goes
what?
on stage at 8:55.
That checks out. That's the part. So like these probably go to what, 8:30. Then you have 25 minutes or a half hour lights out or what, like in between sets.
Also, dude, if we could make it out to LA, see Linkin Park with JPEG Mafia, that would be awesome.
And to clarify, this is me because you know how like the whole Chester Bennington Council thing. I had second row tickets to that show in Tinley Park in Chicago. So this is me finally 8 years later getting to see them.
Yeah.
So
well, I won't hold you up. So.
But everyone have a good one, and we'll see all of you next time.